Wow, I can't believe we've made it. We are here at the DPB Show, and you can see in my split screen right there is no other than the one and only Kat Peterson. Kat, man alive, you talk about a scramble. You talk about trying to get it all put together, and we aren't fully there. There's a lot of little nuances that we have to work out at the DPB Show, but we should be live on Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, and X. Kat, we did
Yeah.
it. I made it.
Yeah. Congratulations, DPB.
You know what? We're just getting started, and I'm so thankful to you because I wouldn't have gotten it to this point. I thought I was going to have to work off of my phone today to do the at the DPB Show. So thank you. Obviously, always appreciate anybody that's tuning in and like, subscribe, hit the follow button. You know, this is new. It's happening right here. I'm literally a little anxious because I don't know what to say, Kat. So thank you. I know you can't stay long. Our audience might know this, Kat. That Kat had an accident about a week ago. Actually, it was a week ago Monday, right?
Yeah, a week ago on Monday.
And it was a pretty serious accident. And now she just found out that she will get a new vehicle out of it because they totaled her old vehicle.
Yes. So I'm going to be doing that, David Paul Blumenshine, which it's okay. Everything is good. I mean, materials can be replaced, but lives cannot. So I'm glad that I am back and at it. And I mean, it's just incredible the feeling you get when you're like it wasn't like a super near death situation, but it freaked me out enough. And then your life changes after that for at least a while, until you get back into the swing of things. But you're like so grateful. I'm like, why do I even get to be here? Because I'm like, wow. I mean, the people who take advantage of this life, there is just no excuse for it. There just really isn't. And yeah, so I was actually on the phone with my dad. He was walking me through what to do with the insurance companies and things like that, because you always go to your dad. I love what you shared on your Facebook page. You go to your dad to open up the pickle jar.
The jar. I thought that was an awesome video. Obviously,
yeah. I mean, I go to my dad and I'm like, Dad, I don't know what to do, and he's like, here's what you got to do, and I'm like, okay. But yeah,
and that's what dads are for. That's why I believe the biggest problem that America faces right now, and I know we're going to get to my topic. I know many of you who are just jumping on, listening, and viewing us here. That is Kat Peterson of the Kat Peterson Morning Show, Morning Buzz, Conservative Kat. You're seeing her. She helped me get to this point. We're just getting started. But Kat, that is the essence of humanity back into all things. We have dehumanized everything, whether it's education, whether it's even the way we interact socially. We've dehumanized it. Social media has replaced the human condition, where you actually have responsibility for what you say and do to another person. Politics, we're seeing that. I mean, the craziness that's going on in the political world, and that is the topic of today's show, is putting humanity back into politics, putting humanity back into everything, because we've lost it. And I know that you do a great job on the morning show, and your dad, my point being, is the fatherless home is part of that, taking humanity, dehumanizing where we're at culturally. We tried to remove dads from the house. It doesn't work. We know that. Kids survive, they function better in a two-parent household. And when I say two-parent household, I'm talking about a mother and a father. That's how things work the best. That is indeed, I believe, the way God intended it to be. And that is also part of the topic of dehumanizing things, because God doesn't want us to dehumanize the way we live, the way we interact with one another. And we're not just made up of identities and skin color and sexual orientation and the division, and goes on, blue versus white versus blue, red versus blue. It's nonstop.
Yeah. Well, and then also, I mean, I love how you brought this up, putting humanity back, the way we interact with the people. So me being in the media industry, you being in the media industry, a lot of stuff like this, you kind of have to, and I was talking with somebody about this today. It's almost like you're feeding this beast, this media beast, where you're looking for that 10-second clip to share out and to invoke some sort of emotional response. That's the world that I live in, and I just don't want any part of it. You don't want any part of it. This is why you're doing a long form show.
Yes.
Hey, if you want it, come to my platforms. It's like you're constantly feeding something that doesn't even exist. So it's all based off of algorithms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and there is a science behind a science behind going viral. A lot of the guys, the influencers, they do it. There's a science behind it, what words you use, and Facebook puts you up in the algorithm for certain words that you use. And then they knock you down for other words that you use. So it's like, yeah. Sorry, David.
No. Because right on that, with that, I mean, did you catch Tucker and Bongino yesterday? And they're actually doing the second part today. And yesterday they talked about their experience at Fox News. They were on the same floor. Dan, very complimentary of Tucker, how nice he was, how accommodating he was. But both of them got the boot out of traditional media, TV. And they both said simultaneously that basically the future of the way that we interact, specifically younger people, your generation, they don't do TV. They're not turning on Fox News, CNN, CNNBC, MSNBC. They're turning on predictive programming. They're looking for what they are seeking out. So they go to YouTube, they go to Rumble, Twitter /X. I'm gonna eventually get to calling it X one day, but or Facebook. And I even think that somebody put up, I saw in a post, Facebook's going to go away someday.
Yeah,
I truly believe that. I think
it doesn't have the 10-second clips, right? Yeah. So it's not this easy to consume media. Now, I think there is a beauty in that, but also the way other platforms are doing it. Even Twitter hasn't really caught up with it yet. With the 10-second, it's TikTok. This whole TikTok Generation Z is obsessed with it. And right now, the way the TikTok does it, Instagram, they all build around these mainstream media kind of algorithms or like big tech algorithms. So, for example, if I talk about the vaccine, I can't spell out the word vaccine, otherwise people won't see my content. So that's something that we're going to have to like battle. Once big tech is removed from that medium, I think that medium will grow, like Tucker and Dan said, for our cause, right? So right now, NBC, CBS, they aren't jumping onto that, but there's a lot of mainstream ideas still in TikTok, still in Instagram. And I think conservative media like Dan Bongino and Tucker, they're feeding into it and they're learning at a much faster rate than like say Fox News and NBC and CBS. So I don't know. I don't really like the way it's going because it's like we are living in such a low information age. So like if like say somebody's name, David, you would know somebody's name that I wouldn't know. Say a name, any name.
Well, I was going to say Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah, don't know who that is.
You don't know who Dick Van Dyke is? Cat Peterson.
No clue. No clue.
I just saw a video of him. The guy's like 100 years old. He did Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. You know what Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is?
No.
Oh, Cat, come on.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Was it like
Mary Poppins?
Okay, I know Mary Poppins with the umbrella.
All right. Well, that's Dick Van Dyke's one of the chimney sweepers.
Okay.
We also had the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Okay.
But that's right. The chasm is great. The generational chasm.
Well, and there's just, I don't get the information. I get these 10-second clips and, these people go viral for maybe a day or two. And then I forget about them the next day because somebody else goes viral for a day or two. So yeah, that's the sucky part about the 10-second videos.
Well, and with that, because you really hit upon something that I heard Bongino covering on his show, with the advent of AI and the World Economic Forum, they would really like to have elections decided based on AI rather than the polling booth, rather than ballots, where they now
said it.
What's that?
I'm pretty sure they came out and said it. The World
that's what they said. That's what they said. They want predictive outcomes. They literally want to use your technology, go to your social media pages and look at your tendencies. What are you looking at? What are your interests? And therefore, they're going to determine the candidate that you probably would select. And therefore, that's the candidate, or those are the people that would run our country.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Scary stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, I know you can't stay. I'm at the 13-minute mark, and some of the things I'm starting to think, Kat, I don't have the resets on doing this. Hopefully, as we grow, and we so appreciate everyone that's jumped on here today, whether that it's at Twitter /X, YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble, and it's joined us. We're looking for advertisers. We're looking for subscribers. The content we're going to continue to provide, and I believe we're going to walk this out because faith is so important to both Kat and I. And I think we both believe that we need more faith within politics. Culturally, we need more faith, specifically what comes through our faith tradition, which is Christianity, because our platform is forgiveness, is love. And we don't see a lot of love, a lot of forgiveness, a lot of peace. And we understand that ultimately the Prince of Peace will return someday to this world.
Soon?
Coming. What's that?
Soon.
Oh,
Nobody
believe
knows
me.
The time or hour.
Because nothing is ever going to be brought full circle until, and this is what I believe, and I know it's what you believe, until Christ returns again. We're going to continue to see wars and rumors of wars and natural disasters and everything that runs the gamut.
And Senate staffers doing it in the judiciary hearing room, right?
I mean, and that gets back to what you said. I mean, the fact that that's not even really raising eyebrows when you have humans doing what it used to be done in X-rated movies on the distinguished floor of the U.S. Senate. To me, at that point, and they talk about J6, that the people that were walking through the Capitol building were defacing and doing all these terrible things to the U.S. Capitol. How about a Senate staffer filming himself doing just, gross.
Well, Jacob Chansley, here's what Jacob Chansley did. He broke into the Capitol. You really can't break in because it's the people's house. Fight me on that. We pay for it. I should visit it anytime, right? And we staff it with Capitol Police. They should make sure that it's all protected, but they didn't do that. But anyway, so Jacob Chansley, he gets into the Capitol and he says a prayer. This guy, I mean, was this an insurrection with this Democrat staffer? Can you call it that?
Oh, I think it was a resurrection. It was a resurrection of the human spirit in the United States of America. And that's what we need. We need people to stand up and push back and to voice their discontent with where we're going as a country. Now I'm at 16 minutes, Kat. I know you said that you had things to do, and I want you to be on here, Kat. You can be on the full
hour. You're kicking me off? Wow.
No, I'm not kicking you off. I just don't want you to feel like I'm holding you on the inaugural DPB live in his new studio. This is my temporary home. I will get something up here in the backdrop. The camera angle will be a little bit better. The glow on top of my head, I actually have a light switch across the way that I probably could.
I don't think you can do much about the glow on top of your head, but it's all right.
I have a dimmer switch. No, you're
Maybe
right.
wear a hat.
That's right. Well, I usually do wear a hat. And I didn't today because I didn't know. I getting a feel of where I'm at.
I'm bullying DPB.
I'm gonna give a plug because it is, I think it's only right that I tell people that I had a business owner here locally, a conservative business owner, who knew the plight that we were going through. I was looking for a new spot to host the DPB show, and he was willing to share a office in his building, and I scrambled over here. It's a secure building, so I access it with a fob, and I set up the cameras. Paul Garcia Productions, my friend Paul came over, got the mic set up. I was missing a couple cords, didn't know what I was going to do. I'm scrambling. I'm at Walmart. I'm calling Kat on the phone. I'm like, I got to get these two things, and I have no idea. But thank God, friends like you and Paul provide pictures. I'm pretty good. Just point me in the direction with a picture at Walmart, and I probably can find it. So I found everything we needed, but we're still not there yet. But Kat and I were working out the StreamYard. Literally, we got it put together with 5 minutes until airtime.
It's the way of the world. That's the way it goes. And before I even I was making myself a cup of tea. I was late. I was on cat time. Cat time is always running like 5 minutes late.
Hey, Kat, look, who is this chiming in on the chat with us? Do you see that?
Yeah. I gotta make fun of you. You made fun of me for not knowing who Dick Van Dyke was.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Actually, my friend Jim Snyder, he sent a message and said, "Good one, brother. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang." It takes some of us that are from that generation back. But getting back to your point, I also want to give a shout out to Cristo. Thank you, brother. I so appreciate you and your support. Like, share, continue to go out there. I am utterly overwhelmed with the amount of people that have already tuned in to what we're doing here, Kat. And, and I understand that probably because you joined me, that obviously gets the numbers up a little bit. But the difference in generations and everything that we're seeing, your generation knows nothing different than the ability to have instant information on demand all the time, 24/7. In fact, I know that many people struggle with addiction to their devices and putting them down. And
like me. I mean, it's when I don't have that phone around me. Well, this is, I think, hopping onto the show with you, I like put it away for it finally. But when I don't have it, it's like an anxiety. I'm like, whoa, where is it? Where is it? I need more information. So it's something that I think Dan Bongino, Tucker Carlson, a lot of the red wing or the right wing Republicans are grabbing onto and understanding, and they're playing the same game that the leftists have done for years, and they're doing it better, which is incredible because we don't do anything. Republicans don't do anything as good as the Democrats do ever. Look at the elections, right? They have a voting apparatus that they've got.
We sure haven't seen somebody from the Republican side having one of their staffers filming something in the Senate chambers. You're right. We don't do things illegally as well as the Democrats because we're the party of law and order. We're the party of having a moral backbone, a moral fiber.
Yeah, people are always upset, David, and I am too, with Republicans in the state of Illinois. I mean, quite frankly, I'm peeved off. And, you could say it's because the Illinois GOP is lazy or they're apathetic, but it's really not that, I don't think. I think a lot of good people are in the Illinois GOP, a lot of bad ones, but a lot of good ones. But what it is, it's Republicans don't do politics like as their main priority. We do God and we do family first, and those are our main priorities.
And third is hard work. Yeah, and hard work.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not looking to game the system. We're not looking to control people's lives, to control all the outcomes. I mean, they truly want to control everything about you, what you use, how you live, how you interact, how you view other people. You know, they love this thing. They're in hog heaven right now, because they do in the state of Illinois. They've got super majorities across the board, and they're running the proverbial, they're running the table in everything, whether it's gun control. And I want to get to a couple thoughts that you're having on current events as it pertains to, we know about the voting issue that's going on with the Illinois State Board of Elections, and now they're under pressure to start cleaning up the voter rolls because Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch brought suit against them on behalf of Illinois Conservative Union's Carol Davis and Illinois Family Institute, Dave Smith. We now know that there's up to 800,000 people who are on the voter rolls that are inactive, what is deemed inactive voters. And it's super easy to convert an inactive voter into an active voter. So those ballots could be sent out. That's just one topic. I mean, we've got the gun ban, right? And I know you covered that a little bit. So your thoughts on a couple of those issues that are going on. Can you start with the
Yeah, so the inactive voters, the 800,000, that's insane. It's such a simple process. And like people say it's complicated, but I really don't think it is. So I've talked to somebody from Livingston County, and he was telling me, and how tragic is this? He was telling me that his dad has been dead for 10 years, 10 years. And they still send the dad, his name, a vote by mail ballot, a VBM, as the kids call it. They send him a vote by mail ballot. He's been gone 10 years. And like that should not be happening. The Livingston County, I have no idea who the clerk is. I'm not trying to rip it on anybody, but that should not be happening. Inactive voters is a big problem. There's a room for nefarious activity to take place, because now somebody can be like, okay, I can vote in this person's name, although he's been dead for 10 years and he hasn't voted, obviously, but I can use his name to vote because he's an inactive voter. So it's really easy, the process. The election authority is supposed to send 2 postcards, from what I understand, probing to see if you're still at that address. If you haven't voted for a while, it should send off alarm bells to every election authority. Then you should send these 2 postcards. If you don't receive correspondence back and they haven't voted in the last 2 federal election cycles, that's your congressmen and things, then you need to remove that person. And if you're not, then you're either ignorant or negligent, or you're doing it on purpose. And that is a big no-no in the state of Illinois. We have the worst, from what I understand, inactive voter roll, like Judicial Watch estimates it at the worst, I believe, in the nation, if not the worst, pretty dang close, which why leave it up to chance for nefarious activity to happen? And it's like, if you don't want people to distrust you, then do your job right. Eliminate the ability for me to accuse you.
You know, they talk about voter suppression, and that's the reason that we have a election season now versus election day. There's been talk about a national holiday, Kat. We have 40 days.
Wait a second. Wait a second. It's not a national holiday right now?
No.
Election day is not a national holiday.
No,
are you
it's not a national holiday. Yeah.
What? This is insane to me.
Yeah. So election day, and most states have gone to an extended voting period of time. You know, no longer election day, but now election season. That's what I've coined it. Many others have coined it that. So you have 40 days So we're going to have a primary March 19th of 2024. So you back off 40 days, which takes you well into February, right? Around the first week of February, not the end of January, but the first week of February. And you can vote. No, not the first week. It would be the second week of February. You can vote from mid-February all the way to March 19th. No, it's got to be longer than that. It is the first. It is the 1st of February. I'm going to get those specific dates when early voting starts, because now you vote at voting centers. You can start receiving your vote by mail, your VBM, the VBM, vote by mail ballots, and you can start sending those in or putting those in the drop boxes. But that's never going to change in the state of Illinois until we get enough people in place, specifically Republicans, who are going to be able to change the voting system through the process of the Illinois State Board of Elections. Because right now, as I said just a minute ago, they are running the table. They control all the statewide offices. They have a supermajority in both the Senate and the House. I mean, they don't need Republicans for anything. That's the sad part about it. Absolutely nothing. They don't. Republicans, if Republicans are siding with Democrats, it's purely an exercise in trying to gain favor for something.
Yeah, well, that's what I always say.
But it's not the people of Illinois.
There's this bill out there, and I've been doing, some research about it, and it just shocked me. Not a single Republican. Now, I like a couple of them. I do like a couple of them in the State House. Not a single one. This is House bill. It's the anti-doxing bill. Now, what they did, they redefined doxing as personal identifiable information instead of private information. They used the words personal identifiable information or whatever. And I mean, this could be as simple as your name. So not a single legislator, not a single one voted no on that, which raised my eyebrows. I was like, wait a second, why would not a single one vote against this? But really what it is, it's because every single lawmaker in there and every single lawmaker ever, every politician ever, from at least the state of Illinois, and I like them all. And maybe they had a different reason as to why they voted for this, but what the bill looks like to me, they didn't want people publishing things that were negative about them. And they all voted in unison for this bill that makes it to where you will be held civilly liable for publishing something as doxing. And it could be as simple as, hey, my legislator voted for this bill, and here's his email. Tell him that he shouldn't have. And that's technically doxing, I think, under this bill from what the language, I mean, the verbiage was so broad, it shouldn't have passed the way it did. But yeah, it's like you said, why all, like, if I was a Republican in the State House, I would just be voting no every single day. I'd be like, no more laws. Like, why do we need more laws?
Yeah. No.
We've got on the books already.
Well, it's like what Bongino says when he says no more cutesy time. I don't know how, as a Republican, and I feel bad, losing loudly is what they do most of the time, because they stand up on the floor of the Senate or the House and they make their riveting arguments of why we shouldn't do something, knowing going into it that they don't have the votes. And so what are you really accomplishing at that point? It is time to fight back. I know that our friend Ryan McKenzie, who is faithful to always being part of the DPB Show and the Morning Buzz and the Conservative Cat Show, says the GOP is full of nice people. We need brutal warriors to take on the diabolical left. Exactly. And that's so true. I mean, that is so true. But Kat, I know that you're over time and I've kept you, but I do want to find out, you've covered the ban on the gun legislation, the gun ban that JB has signed into law, effective January 1st. According to my G-Shock watch, that is going to be 12 days from today. The requirements are that if you own any one of the banned weapons, mostly it deals with magazines and oversized magazine capacity and certain types of rifles.
I had to make sure. I was like, oh, I don't have my gun up here on the wall. Usually there's one hanging up here. It's somewhere on the other wall.
It's all
we've got some rifles.
So they'll be at your house. Yeah, exactly. So that brings up a good point. I mean, what will the Illinois State Police do to enforce this constitutional, according to the Illinois Constitution now, this is law. The Supreme Court hasn't stated this is going forward as of this point. And the sheriffs of 102 counties, are they going to work in collaboration with the Illinois State Police and start making examples of just a few people? Because there's no way. In totality, there are 2.5 million, roughly 2.5 million registered firearm license in the state of Illinois. That's almost 20% of the population. It's probably over 20%. And the police, I know that they are understaffed, the Illinois State Police Department, or police force, and also our sheriffs, our county sheriffs. How are they going to be able to enforce the legislation?
Well, I don't think that they're going to enforce it. And the ISP, love all the guys that are in the ISP. I mean, I had a state trooper, come and help me get off the highway when I crashed. Love Matt Lane, love law enforcement. However, the people running the ISP, they were paying people who weren't even with the ISP anymore. Millions went out to pay people that weren't even like on the rolls, on the payroll anymore. Like they shouldn't have been on the payroll, but they were. I'm talking about millions. Go look at the auditor. I think it's the Auditor General report. Mm-hmm. And there's just millions that have been dished out to people who don't even work there anymore. So like, if they're not even competent enough to get the people off payroll, then like, they probably can't enforce jack. Okay. You're not going to enforce anything. I feel sorry for the SAPs that registered. Only 1/3% registered their firearms with the ISP. I feel sorry for them because they might be the examples that they set, and they will have their door busted in and they will have their guns taken away, the ones that they registered.
So 1/3 of 1%. Let's get that correct. So everybody that's with us here today, thank you once again for all of you that have taken time out of your day to come to the DPB show. Obviously, you see behind me, I'm not in studio any longer at Cities. This is all new. We are branching out. I'm forging a new direction of where we're going to take the content of this show. And hopefully, as time goes on, you're going to continue to see Kat as part of this format with me. And I'm going to try to pull in friends like Ty Smith, Kevin Ferris, Josh Bender, Paul Garcia, the core group of people that really we all came in this thing together, and it has changed exponentially. I mean, the distance that we've seen, Kat, I know that's part of what we've seen in Illinois too, with the gun ban and the sanctuary status and the overpopulation of illegal immigrants coming into our state, the abortion bill and taxpayer funded for anyone who wants to come to Illinois. So, this new format at the DPB show, go out, like, subscribe, follow, because ultimately that's how I build the audience. And when I build the audience, I could, expand upon a lot of things that we're doing. Maybe I can even start buying Kat dinner for coming on my show.
Yeah, you better start get me dinner. I'm expecting. No, smash the like button if you're watching. I see you guys watching. You guys don't want to like it because you're afraid that JB is going to find out you liked it, and then he's going to come in and mandate that you lock down again or something. But you guys better like it. Or State Farm's going to fire you. Who knows, right?
I love the saying, And there's nothing to fear but fear itself. And fear is a liar. You know, fear is not of God.
No,
Uh,
I fear very, very little. I mean, obviously I'm a human. I fear a
the
lot.
natural fear is good, Kat. You shouldn't have no fear.
Mhm.
But I believe that, you know, as you believe, with God going before us always, what is there to be afraid of?
Mhm.
And that was brought up yesterday by a friend of mine, Carson. He asked about the experience I had with the Federal Bureau of Investigation shortly after J6 in 2021. And you know, I haven't talked about it at great length. I've covered it a couple times on the DPB show. But yeah, that was an interesting day, you know, to have two federal agents show up at your door, which is, and I'm tying this together, Kat, because this is my fear. Not really. This is my concern for you, my audience, and the people out there that listen to both you and I. There are going to be a few of you who are made examples of when it comes to this gun ban. This is what they love to do. They tried to do it during COVID. They tried to intimidate us. They tried to lock us down. They tried to take away our rights. But
Mhm.
when they came to my door, I graciously said, come on in, because I have nothing to fear but fear
Mhm.
itself. And I put them on notice that, hey guys, I'm glad that you came out today on some type of complaint from one of the local Democratic Socialists of America in our community who was convinced unequivocally, based on the footage they watched on CNN, that they saw me in the Capitol building in
Mhm.
Nancy Pelosi's office surfing the internet on her laptop. And or that they've mistaken me for the bomber at the RNC headquarters or the DNC headquarters. But you know, before those two field agents came out to my house and knocked on my door, you know that they had gone through with a fine tooth comb my social media. You know that they probably had other means of searching who is DPB, what is DPB, and at the end of the day, it's pretty boring, right? You know, I've had my ups, I've had my downs, I've had, you know, I've had my sinful nature in my life. I've repented from most of that, and if I need to repent from something else, I know that I will. But they came to my house and they wanted to ask me questions, so I put them on notice and said, "Listen, guys, I have to let you know anything that you say today can and will be part of the DPB show." Because I'm
Boom.
going to tell the story.
And here's the thing, I think that there is this overwhelming fear. I know I used to have, and I think that it's slowly fading away. And the reason why is because it's the information. When you lack knowledge and when you don't have the information, then you can't turn around and say, hey, you know, I'm going to put you on notice. Anything you say can and will be used against you on the DPB show. You were able to say that because you knew what was going on. You kept yourself equipped with that knowledge of what was going on J6, and you were well aware of what was already. I mean, you were talking about what happened as far as political theater before Tucker even released the footage, right? I mean, so like you knew. And the reason why you were so confident with two federal agents coming at your door, did they have guns?
Oh, I think, yeah, they did. Yep. Yep.
Wow.
They didn't have
The
a
reason
warrant.
you were cool as a cucumber is because you have, and this is all part of, we were talking about earlier in the show, this low information age that we're in, and these 10-second clips that make it viral, and then you don't really know anything. And that's the way we consume media. It's by design. So that way we're low information, low knowledge. I don't have nearly as much knowledge on the Bible as you, as Pastor Tim, our pastor. But the more and more I consume, the better I feel as far as the fear goes. That all starts to fade away once you start to know things. And that's what it's all about, is getting to know things and then being able to say, hey, okay, you called me a homophobe. No. That's actually not an insult, And I know the statistics surrounding transgender, gay, homosexual children and what happens to them once they profess this sexuality. They wind up killing themselves for whatever the reason, right? And when you present facts and that knowledge, then everything just starts to crumble, and then they back off, and you don't have to fear them anymore. So yeah.
Well, but in a loving, caring, sharing way, I think I think that we should always stand on the rock of Christ Jesus and the foundational principles. There has been no other source of morality than the Bible that's provided such a way of existing in a manner. You want tranquility, you want peace, live according to the Bible. But your point about experiencing life and the experiences you have, I will tell you that what kind of started to melt away the fear and anxiety and the worry in my heart and in life was the time I spent in devotion and scripture and Holy Scripture, because there is nothing new under the sun. Everything that we possibly can obsess about, whether it's our finances, whether it's our children, whether it's the upcoming holiday season, whatever it might be, it's already been addressed in Scripture. And if I'm going to spend the limited time, it's merely what does Paul refer to it as? We're vapor in the wind. It's momentary. When you stack it up against eternity, forever and ever and ever and ever. So if I'm going to have a limited time here on this earth, then I'm going to fill myself with the best of the best content, the best knowledge. As much as I appreciate Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon and even Alex Jones and Dan Bongino, I know that those guys are just like me. They get up every day, right? They drink their cup of coffee. They probably have pets. I know Tucker does. As Tucker says, he refers to it. He goes, I really don't have a job. I get up and I talk I have a talk show. That's not a job. He gives a shout out to the people who are truly making America work. The truck drivers, the electricians, the plumbers, the contractors, people who are putting their time in and utilizing their skills or their time, their talents to make America work. You and I, as sometimes as frustrating as this can be, we get an opportunity to have conversations on formats like YouTube, Twitter, X, Facebook, and Rumble. Do you see how I work that in, Kat? At the DPB Show?
Yes.
Go out and like and subscribe.
I think that's watching. You better like. Don't you dare not like the program. You're a loser if you don't like it.
Hey, Kat. I promised I was going to keep to myself because this is my new surroundings. I'm hoping to get a backdrop up behind me. I'll take a picture of this and put it up on my social media page, the DPB Facebook page at the DPB Show, or just the DPB Show. I'm going to put a picture up. But since we've been on the air, the sun has gone down in the room that you've been sitting in.
Yes.
And
so now it's getting dark.
That I love that because that's symbolic of the sun is going down. The shortest day of the year is in 2 days, right? Is that correct? The 21st of December, shortest day of the year when it comes, not short meaning time, but short meaning daylight. The shortest amount of daylight will be on the 21st or the 22nd. I can't say for certain. But the beautiful thing that starts happening after that, the days start getting longer. And when we get into mid-January, the end of January and February, we start having more light. And that's symbolic of this season of light that we find ourselves in the midst of. And it isn't just about preparing our hearts to celebrate the birthday of Jesus. That's happened. The King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the great one, the counselor, the advocate. He came to the earth and he did the ultimate. He died for us. Now, what we await, I believe, and what we should really be preparing for going into 2024 is the second coming and what lies beyond. The craziness of all the conversations we have, Kat, on the radio or on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, X. It pales to what lies ahead. I love it when scripture says, no eye has seen, no ear has heard what God has ready for those who love him. That's what we should prepare for. Mm-hmm. I get it. It's going to be, I think we're going to feel a lot of buffeting going through 2024. I think there's going to be a lot of good. I think there's going to be a lot of bad, evil. I think that the Democrat Party is not going to want to lose momentum in what they've kind of put into motion, which is everything and anything to destroy the constitutional republic that we live in. And they're literally hell-bent. They're hell-bent on destroying the United States of America. I'm convinced of it 100%. Anybody that says any different, I don't disagree with them. I just say, okay, we'll see. But ultimately, preparing ourselves, putting on the armor of Christ, getting knowledgeable, being insightful. I know a lot of the A team, meaning Bongino and those guys, they talk about prepping. Why? Because the worst case scenario is you never use any of the stuff that you prepare for. But I can see shortages in the stores. We kind of saw, a little bit of that through the COVID crisis, the manufactured COVID crisis. Some people refer to it, the plandemic or the scamdemic. We've seen how they've tried to manipulate things. Gas shortages. I remember gas shortages back in the 70s with Jimmy Carter. I think they're going to limit fuel. I think they're going to limit the supply. And I think when you see that, people lose their minds. And I think that's a call for us as people of faith to rise above it and not get caught up in it. Because we're not supposed to be people of the dark. We're supposed to be people of the light. All right, we're up going on 50 minutes, Kat. Any final thoughts?
Nope, just thank you for having me on the DPB show. And I will be subscribing today, so should you.
You're going to follow me on all three. I think, Kat, you've already followed me.
Yeah.
You haven't done it yet? You'll do it. Hey, once again, we'll be back on Thursday from 4 to 5. And I say we. I'm not necessarily saying we as in Kat. I'm hoping that Kat will join me at another time. But we meaning you, because I can't do this without you. I need you to go out, like, subscribe, The DPB Show, at The DPB Show on all those formats, whether it be Rumble, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Facebook. Having you guys as part of this as we've launched it, the new studio, I know it looks like a bomb shelter. It is. I know what Mark Levin says when he's in his underground bunker, because I feel like I'm in an underground bunker. But I'm thankful. God has made a way. I was uncertain as of the end of last week when I found out that the DPB show was going to be no longer aired on the radios. So I'm hopeful that maybe sometime I might get back on the radio. I'm not planning for it. I believe this is the future. This format, this is what all of the younger generation look forward to when they are seeking out information and knowledge. So I'm just going to follow in line with it. I do want to hit a couple comments. My wife commented, no way the rabid left did not think they saw you in the Capitol when they're referring to January 6th. They just have nothing else to do but be rabid. Ryan, I'd love to join you too. Well, Ryan, we talked about it. Now I'm set up and I am going to send you a message on Messenger or via text message. and get you in studio with me. I'd love for you to be there side by side. I've got 2 mics set up. You can't see it right now. Like I said, I'm going to put a picture up. I've got a mic over here across the way. I'm hoping to get 2 cameras in place so I can go between 2 cameras and have a guest sitting right over across the way. My digital camera is set up over here. So I'm looking forward to my friend Paul Garcia Productions, coming in and helping me get everything synced up for Thursday's show. So Thursday from 4 to 5, I will be back. Like I said, I figured it out. There was a lot of uncertainty, but once again, I know that God goes before me always, and I am just here to follow in his footsteps and where he wants to lead me, to obey where he leads me. So thank you once again. I look forward to being with you guys on Thursday. If you have any additional comments, just throw them into the comments section, or go ahead and go out to the social media pages on Facebook, whether that's my own personal page, David Paul Blumenshine. I have 2 pages out there, or at the DPB Show is also out there. Message me there. I'd love to hear from you. Once again, I wish you guys peace, especially during this season of peace and light. I say to you, peace be with you. Until next time, I love you guys. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Take care now.